What I've been doing is looking at how can I sort of line up all these different areas of learning and make connections between them all. My literacy learning, the math learning, those subject area outcomes, and how can I connect them, make it meaningful across all those strands, and do it in a way that the work we're doing with math and literacy in our workshops, that we can then, when we're doing our more integrated piece, for the way that I do it is a learning zone approach. So when we're doing that in that chunk of the day, that we can see how our learning in our workshops transfers into our other piece, our integrated piece that we're doing. I still have my workshops, my reader's workshop, my writer's workshop. I also do a math workshop approach where the 3-part lesson is part of that, and math stations, and it's explicit math instruction. So I still have those workshops where I'm really focused on those reading and writing and math concepts and skills. But I also have the balanced literacy pieces. So I've got shared reading, I've got read aloud, I have the word work piece, I've got things like my morning message, I've got interactive writing, and I do a lot of those pieces in sort of a morning meeting context. In the afternoon is when I do the learning zone piece. All the experiences I'm setting up are all related to those curriculum area concepts that we want the kids to be exploring, but they're using their reading and their writing and their math skills to explore those concepts. The workshops that I have, readers, writers, and math workshops, that's explicit instruction around literacy and math concepts. Now, sometimes I can also pull in, so for writer's workshop, if we're doing nonfiction writing, well, obviously you can easily pull in explicit instruction around some science concepts. And same within Reader's Workshop. But also, again, those balanced literacy components that, for me, I have fit into my morning meeting time. That is where some explicit instruction around science concepts or health concepts or social studies concepts can happen, and they happen in that same kind of mini lesson format, that same like small chunks, because it doesn't need to be like a big long me talking for 20 minutes about whatever. It's that same format. It's that same workshop format that I have found really valuable and works really well for giving kids that opportunity to have explicit instruction and then practice that guided practice part, and then when they get to their learning zones in the afternoon, that's where they're doing the independent practice, and where I can also observe, okay, what is not, what do they need some more guided practice with, because it's not happening yet. So pack up your materials. Josh, can you help Oliver to pack up the materials? That's part of our work.
Can I help?
Okay, so boys and girls, it is absolutely key. There is no way around it. And I mean, it's October right now, so we're in about 6 weeks. That has been what we've been doing, and that is what we are still doing. There are parts of our routine that are going so well, and we've practiced and they've really understood how it needs to work so that we can all do our best learning. But there are still other parts that we still need to work on. If it's something too tricky to bring down, then you could put it maybe on the table. But I need you to put the bins back where they belong. The cleanup piece and how to put jobs away is still a struggle. So when we do a share circle, sometimes it will be focused on one of those management pieces about what can we do to problem solve this. Or sometimes if we run out of time, we've done our share circle and I didn't kind of get that last piece in about management, it may be something we do during our morning meeting time, and maybe we develop a chart together, or we would talk and share about those pieces. But it takes a long time to build the routines, and it doesn't mean that meaningful learning can't be happening while you're building routines, because the routines also are meaningful. Just all those skills around managing yourself and managing materials and sharing with others, and I mean those are part of health and social studies outcomes as well. Like the way that it's been streamlined, because I totally can see how one grade is building on the other and how some of the outcomes are connected. The majority are very connected, and there are certain concepts that, so for example, science, for example. In grade 1, we're focusing right now at the Science Center. I have a lot of jobs around materials, sorting materials, looking at different objects, guessing games around, using descriptive words, because that's the outcomes that when I assess, I'm zeroing in on those kinds of outcomes for my grade 1s. Now the grade 2s, what I've decided is I felt that those kinds of grade 1 outcomes around materials and objects, I feel like liquids and solids really merge as well with that, because you're also doing a lot of observing and investigating, and it's looking at different materials and putting solid things into liquid things. So the two, to me, go really well together. And so for the kids, they don't know if they're, oh, I'm in grade 2, so I can't do any of the materials jobs, or I'm in grade 1, I can't do any liquids job. That's not at all their experience. Everybody's doing all the different experiments, and it's me as the teacher, I just look with a different lens depending on who I'm conferencing with or who I'm doing a small group with or whatever. So for me, I just looked through the outcomes and I just drew patterns, and I figured out what I felt went well together, what I felt merged well together, when and where, and then decided what the best kinds of jobs, like for this chunk of time in the fall, what are the best jobs I can put at the Science Center, at the Art Center? What kinds of experiences can we have as a whole group that are going to touch on both these outcomes, both these sets of outcomes? So, and having it streamlined, it's just simpler. It's just there's less sort of to gather and put together. It's a little bit more straightforward, I guess, for what to do. Yeah. As I've grown and as I've developed professionally, something that I have just come to realize is so key is children having choice in their learning. Because what is it that I really want them to develop inside? It's that intrinsic motivation and drive to learn. Because if they have that, then all of the other pieces are going to be able to come into place over time, because that ability inside of them to want to learn, to know how to approach learning in different ways, to be motivated, to have ideas, all of those kinds of things, those are so key. So that's why, for me, this way of teaching and setting up the learning environment, that's where it comes from, because I want to set up as many opportunities for them to really take ownership of their learning and their interests and what they're doing, how they're growing.